And one of the first questions, like when you were kind of recommended, when I was asking, like, for some clients that could share something, is the thing I think it was Pam said was you wrote us a note that said you've achieved more revenue in 4 months than you did in the previous 12. So I figured I'd use that as kind of the opener, is some of the things, even you have to replicate a little bit of what Mary Claire said and what Herbert said, what are those steps you put in place to make sure that happened?
Thanks, Mike. Big contribution for sure to Kathleen's coaching and Francis' mindset work, absolutely, and the whole recipe within the RecruiterU has been fantastic. Mindset work, recognizing that the fear that I was facing and the overwhelm really was false, was a big part of it. Understanding that after 26 years, I did have all the skills and competencies, and people do like me still after 26 years. So getting past that stage, I've built up a lot of limiting beliefs. And so working with Francis really helped to move that forward. And Kathleen put a stop to that activity as well. So that was great. The matrix and understanding the RPs, the MPs, the FTIs, knowing that my number is 114, that's what I got to do. It alleviates all kinds of stress. Knowing that 8 calls a day really gets me to my revenue target. And it's been fantastic, actually. Yeah, it's been really good.
So basically you've just, so I'm just rephrasing. I'm not saying that the number one thing you did is just by increasing productivities, you just paid attention to your numbers.
Right. So the Venn diagram, certainly with having understanding of certain revenue, being a pursued partner and self-driving business, I still am working on each one of those circles, but have certain aspects that have elevated my performance. So the certain revenue, being focused with planning, having clarity in my vision and what I want to achieve this year, 3 years from now, and 5 years has really been enlightening. And that really came out of the 5-day challenge and out of, an event like this, where it was just like, I can do this. I've demonstrated that, right? So that's really helped out. Recognizing that my MPs, my client calls has to be defined, and the fact that an RP MP and flipping the money circle works every single time, that is amazing. That training has been excellent. So yeah, just implementing and fulfilling and listening to others that are doing the same steps has elevated my performance.
Other than the metric side, what from a standpoint of systems and strategies did you put in place you could give some of the folks here some tips on, like first steps?
Sure. Well, definitely the goal setting. And I am an excellent planner and organizer, and I had a fantastic business plan. I just lacked the execution part of it. And coming to the Win the Week and the Ignite program, recognizing that others were doing the same thing that I was doing made it so much easier. So just participating in a group really elevated my performance and my personal accountability. That was huge. Defining what my client avatar was huge. Recognizing that, I was able to raise my average invoice by $5,000 by just firing clients, like Herbert said, fire the clients that aren't there and bring up my total billings. It was amazing, just overnight, that easy.
Say a little bit more about that. One, firing the clients, because I like that Herbert said it. And I remember a mentor of mine early in my career said, when you learn to say no on your desk, more than you say yes, you actually control your desk and your income.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, to have the courage to fire, talk about because give them I know we talk about it, but some of the things you would say to a client where you don't just call them up and go, you're fired.
No.
How do you transition out and into a better client?
Well, that became clearer understanding the pursued partner relationship by being able to define, here's my process. I will call 15 people a day that match your job requirements and qualify those people out. And therefore just elevating the presentation of, I work on a retained model. Part of that retained model is you're getting my allocated time, and this is what I'm going to do for you. And this is how I want to deliver the right people for you the first time. And so it eliminated those clients that were playing around at the lower processing and wanted discounted fees and didn't understand the complexity behind recruitment, the ease and the complexity behind it, I'll say, because they just were looking for discounted rate and speed, not quality applicants that were committed, as Mary Claire said, get the people tied in.
And the metaphor I like to use with people is there's a market for everything, right? And I think it's sometimes when I think even in my earlier sales career, we want to convince everyone to work with us. We want to convince everyone with us.
Yes.
Well, you can buy clothes at Walmart and you can buy clothes at Saks.
Yeah.
Right. And they both will keep you warm, right? They're both functional, and I buy clothes at both, right? There's different occasions and different types of things. And I think when I had that mindset of there's always going to be low paying fee people that don't understand the value, they're always going to shop at Walmart and nowhere else as it relates to, like you said, client avatar. Well, I'm probably not going to change their mind, right? Yeah. But if I work for them, I don't have the time to develop the clients where I can charge $5K more per invoice and then go, you know what? I'm going to, do you hear this? Like no one's ever asked me those questions before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're talking to new clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And being a solopreneur, moving towards hiring people, because I've shifted that mindset too, is now looking to hire the right people to support me. I decided that, I do this on my own. I'm 10 years in, independent. I'm going to start doing multiple disciplines of recruitment and placement. And that just eliminated my whole ability to focus and really build out the relationships to be a specialized recruiter providing a high level of service, which again ties into the pursued partner and the self-driving business model that I intend to get to. So it's really implementing each of the processes that you've taught us. Yeah.
One of the things that I'd like to compliment Trevor, one of the concepts that you, Trevor, really grasped onto quickly, and it has served you well, is being able to see the data component of all of this business, right? That it's a funnel, that it's a process that we can do over and over again. Yeah. So often we end up tied in the drama part of it, the story about, but this client has this and that, and they used to, and they might, and I hope, and I pray, and similar versions for the candidates. But you were, right, we all start there living in that quicksand, but you were able to so quickly shift from that, and because you did the mindset work to be able to see this is a process with defined outcomes, and those outcomes are created because I do this. Beautiful job of knowing your number off the top of your head. I've threatened that I would run in your house one night and tap you on the shoulder, and I'd expect you to know it. You passed. Great job.
Thank you very much.
But understanding, for me to have this kind of outcome, it's a process. I need to do this many this, and this many that, and that many that. So you really took to that so well, and it's paid off, which is great.
Thank you. The support's been fantastic.
Any questions I should have or could have asked? Or parting words of wisdom, Trevor?
I would encourage that if one can do it, all can do it. And realistically, it's about, realistically or unrealistically, it's your own choice. We do have choice in what we are taught and how we're going to implement it. And if we decide to implement what we've learned, then you will have similar success. And I've still got a lot to go yet, because I'm just only getting through the bits and pieces of it. So, yeah.
I love the fact that you said, I love it when a solo operator, because it says, you know what, now I can see a path and a light to hiring, that it's not a burden anymore.
Exactly.
It's actually liberating. It provides freedom.
Yes.
Because now you'll be able to go away on vacation and go, here's all the stuff I'm working on.
Yeah.
You got to prep this guy, you got to debrief this person, call Mary, and call me on my cell if you have any problems, and then just sit at a lake or wherever your place is.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the ideas you shared, the time you shared. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much, Trevor.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.